Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back for some more EVE Online. Welcome back also to Jita, the largest trade hub in EVE Online, where I want to take a look at some Dead Space faction modules, some stuff that drops from exploration, because hey, I've been doing a bit more exploration in the last week or even 2 weeks, I would say, and it's been pretty interesting, got some good drops. I'm also experiencing basically more trouble with selling my stuff, so I kind of want to take a look at the market and see if we can spot some trends or anything like that. Now, one thing that I was trying to do first, but that recording really started to take a long time, is when you look for -ty. Here's all the Dead Space modules, but that list is just huge. Absolutely, this is all the faction stuff that can drop, and amongst these we of course also have a lot of these codings that are really not worth that much. Although what I did clearly notice is the big spread right here. Look at that, it hits 0 on a couple of these low points, and then up to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million on the high points. And so that is pretty obviously what's happening here. Most people are, savvy enough to sell through the sell orders for around 1 million ISK. Usually after a while your sale will go through, and then you've got these opportunistic buyers down here that are trying to buy something that's going to give them like a 5x return on their buy if it happens for 210,000 ISK. So for explorers, rule number 1, I would say definitely don't dump your faction loot to these buy prices. You are going to miss out on huge amounts of ISK. But what I actually am going to look for in this video are the prop mods and the active tanks, because in my experience, right, when you're doing some exploration out there and you get an armor rep that drops, you've got a microbe drive that drops, that's when you see the big numbers, and that's when you get like, all right, it's been a good run, that's awesome. And when I bring that to the market, it's going to shoot my wallet up by quite a bit. That's really, those items I think tend to be the most rewarding, although some resistance stuff, especially when it is for all the resistance types, do sometimes really have huge values as well. But we're gonna focus on some stuff that I know has like really nice ISK values. So let's maybe start with the classical ones. I'm gonna start with the armor reps. That is something that drops a lot in Tangier space. And so if we start here with the small armor reps, let's take a look at these charts and price ranges. So all right, maybe it's been my experience in the last couple of months that's tainting my picture, but you clearly see here in February and April we were trading above 50 million, but not by that much, and this does feel like a trading period well below average, which is kind of what I was starting to feel. But right here early April we shot up to 87.5 million on a big volume spike, and at the moment we're still selling really nicely at almost 87 million. Buyers are forced up to 71 million ISK, and availability, there's just not that much stuff out there. So an A-type small armor rep is currently in a pretty nice trading spot, and let's see if that is a trend that we can spot. Well, here is the B-type small armor rep, still in a pretty damn reasonable trade range. Availability is kind of bad for this item, but it's worth around 50 million on average, and currently apparently the sales that did happened for almost 60 million, so definitely a little bit above that. And we have another volume spike here, so anything that wasn't nailed down for ridiculous prices was snagged up. My theory on this is probably the proving grounds, right? When CCP comes out with a specific proving grounds, I do think that sometimes these faction pieces can be part of the more competitive scene when that does happen. And so that is an opportunity that I think I am going to take a look at. That's sort of a plan that I'm making at the moment, is try to gather some ammo, you could say, do some exploration, but don't sell immediately, and instead have some small stuff ready when it's another proving ground for frigates, and then have some medium stuff ready when it's a proving ground for cruisers or battle cruisers, and that way we could really look at much better profits, because stuff like this happens. Here is the C-type small armor rep for Senti. And that one was going for 37.5 million, and then on not that much in volumes, like less than 20 items, we shot up to 87.5 million on a couple of days, just because of the lack of availability. So whoever had a couple and was able to sell then was looking pretty damn good. Currently going for 60 million, still a very good price for a small armor rep, and then 45 million for the buyers. Then we've got Corelli A-type, same thing. This has to be a proving grounds, to be honest. Look at these volumes sustained over 4 days, despite driving the price up from less than 20 million, a 1-year low point. That's definitely true, but up to 50 million, more than doubling the price. So honestly, if you've been exploring the last couple of months, you're probably looking at either really bad prices and perhaps even not an easy time unloading your items, and then all of a sudden a CCP announcement getting a double and more the ISK that you're getting from the item. So patience, and make sure that you put them up for sale rather than sell to these buyers is definitely the lesson that we're learning here. 29 currently for the sellers, 20 for the buyers. That's still a huge margin. I mean, if someone buys this for 20 million and then sells it right away for 28, they're making ISK. So this is definitely something that seems to be decently unique to this market. Then here's the B-type, Corelli B-type, same thing, 1-year low point, almost 20 million, went up to 50 million ISK, currently basically in between, but still selling for 40, very good price, and then buyers forced up to 32 million. But look at how careful these guys are. That's really smart. It's only one, right? One here, and then it's 15 of them that are being bought at 20 million. That's where the huge margin opens up again, and that is probably what that range was just a couple of months ago. Then the C-type, yeah, same story, shot up from 20 to 40, from below 20 to 40 million ISK. Here's the A-type for Corpi, went from 50 million to 90 million ISK. Yeah, and here's then the B-type, not so much visible in the volumes because it's traded so little, but clearly also going up here, 50 million in the month of March, and then 100 million ISK. At the moment, yeah, nobody's selling that. So if this drops, you are probably able to ask a quite generous price. And then the C-type small armor rep, clearly the volumes shooting up to 75 million from 25 million. That's triple the price in the matter of 1 month. Very, very interesting thing. Let me know in the comments if I'm right that this is a proving grounds that has caused this rush on these small armor reps. Because that would make it a very, very interesting precedent and something to keep in mind when you're doing exploration, which is something that I absolutely enjoy. It's my favorite activity in EVE Online, and this is a great opportunity to basically sell at the right time and sell for a much better price than what you would get on average. So something to keep an eye out for. Next up, we take a quick look at the medium ones. Here is the A-type medium armor rep. Definitely feels like a different story, although we do have a bit of a volume spike that caused the price to go back up. At the moment, I would say we're trading this below average, going for less than 300 million ISK. I mean, that's relative, of course, it's below average, but if something like this drops, I think you're always pretty damn happy. 295 for the sellers, 255 for one buyer, and then 31. So not that much buying speculation potentially happening here, unless it's... Let's take a quick look if it's perhaps... Oh, here's where they are, in the Tranquility Trading Tower. And let's see if it's being sold here. Hardly being sold in the Tranquility Trading Tower. 262 million for these sellers. So that's a decently narrow margin actually, but also at probably a pretty low range. And so this is one where I would say, if I'm exploring and I find an A-type medium armor rep, a Centum A-type medium armor rep, I come here and I see this on the market, that's when I have to have the reflex of saying, you know what, I should definitely hold on to this, because a price above 300 million is absolutely a possibility for this item. And at the moment, it's just too low. The margin between sellers and buyers is actually kind of competitive, kind of narrow. You don't generally make that much profit. I think once you're buying at 262 million and selling at 295, it's definitely smaller than the shield boosters at the moment. So hold on to that. Maybe wait for a proving ground that involves cruisers or battle cruisers, and that's going to be your sell opportunity. Then here we get a B-type, definitely struggling as well, staying below 180 million. Lately, last couple of days, we've actually been going up, so that would be good news. Yeah, up to 200 million for the sellers, 163 for the buyers. That's a much, well, not by that much actually. But feels like a healthier margin, but its potential at the start of the year was going for 300 million ISK. Not sure what happened there, that was kind of crazy. But you can clearly see that buying below 150 and selling at around 200 million here once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times very, very easily. Buying for 150, 1, 2, 3, 4 times quite easily, and just a couple of days ago as well. So this has quite a nice wavy pattern worthy of trading, but I would say the volumes are not that big, so really speculating in this stuff feels kind of risky. The ideal position for me is indeed someone that produces this stuff, that goes out there, explores, and then moves it to JITA to try and sell at the best possible price. It's also, I mean, it's a medium armor rep that doesn't take that much cargo space, very easily transported in a small ship, so you can do that in decent safety. Just don't overdo it in how much you're transporting, of course, but that's not the effort, right? Mining 20, 30 jumps away and then having to do that transportation is very labor intensive, you could say. Transporting your exploration loot, that's very doable, which in my opinion makes it that ideal solo activity, because you don't want to share the loot with anyone else. So we're really always focused on doing these sites solo as quickly and efficiently as possible, but then the rewards that we get for that is easily transported solo as well. Here are the C-type armor rep, so completely different story, right? The A-types, big volume spikes, high points, above average, and then here are the medium armor reps so far, trading below average, trading below 100 million. Its potential is 130, even 150 at the start of the year again, and currently kind of under pressure. 92 for the sellers, 82 for the buyers. Again, narrow margin here, you know, rather than say, do I want to put up a sell order for 92.4 and risk having to wait with more people coming in, or do I dump to this 82.4 million? No, don't do either of those. Hold on to your item, because selling above 100 million is absolutely possible for this armor rep. And here, bottom range, going for 200 million on a Corellium A-type medium armor rep. This is such a different story, and maybe part of the reason why I felt like taking a look at this. If you want to sell now, right, look at the amount of competition that you're having, even at 225, 226, right? They just keep undercutting each other by 100,000 ISK here. So it's going to be a little bit harder to actually sell your stuff, despite the fact that it's already at a low price. And the buyers staying below 200 million, they always want that margin. But can you imagine here, buying for 200 million and then just a month later selling for 300 or 350 million ISK? Those guys that do manage to get these buys going are probably looking at crazy profit margins. This is an interesting market that I rarely touch, because I just produce that stuff and bring it to the market, but I should probably keep a closer eye on it. Here, B-type medium armor rep, same story, definitely trading below average, a little bit above 100 million. C-type trading very low at the moment, less than 60 million for the sellers, and still competition keeps coming in. 53 million for the buyers. That's probably the narrowest margin that we've seen so far. So this is a bottom range. I would say if you find this, hold on to it, please, because not that long ago there was a spike up to 100 million. 80 million was possible for 4 months straight at the start of last year. So this is definitely not, I would say, the right time to be selling those. I would hold on to them, especially knowing that a proving grounds could really create the opportunity. Yeah, Corpum A-type medium armor rep down to bottom ranges as well, going less than 300 million on average. So despite the fact that we're selling at 323, but the buyers are at 280, if you see this on the chart, right, average price is below 300 million. That means that people are losing patience. There's just too much supply at the moment out there for this specific item, and so there's not even enough buyers out here to snag these up. Nope, they're actually so desperate that they're dumping to these buyers another 43 million below the sell price. Then we get a B-type medium armor rep. doing a little bit better, but still clearly trading below average for the last 2 months or so. And then that C-type, same story here, just crawling from a 1-year low point and staying at below 90 million range when it could very easily trade for around 100 million, selling for 93, buyers coming in at 81. So this is that difference, and probably what I was experiencing. These armor reps do drop from the stash side, especially the 4 out of 10 I think, and I've been pretty lucky with finding a decent amount of these. But try to sell in this market, it's very, very difficult because there's just so many sellers out there undercutting you that sometimes people get desperate and they just start dumping to the buyers, driving that chart down even more. And I think it becomes a cycle, and that's when, as an explorer, you have to have the reflex. I'm not going to keep going. We are going to stop here. Quick look at the large armor reps. Now this doesn't drop where I do exploration, and is currently going actually for 500 million is at more of a high point, and we should see some crazy margins. No, not 530 for the sellers, 453 for the buyers. It's, I mean, almost 100 million, so it's definitely a decent margin, but it's not too crazy. Quickly go over these, definitely at a high point. Oh, there's a very rational explanation for this, of course. Marauder change, battleships becoming more expensive. So all of that is sort of, I think, having a bit of a boom in the battleship class of items as well. Look at that Centum X-type, regular trading most of the year, 300 to 400 million, currently moved to 600 to 700 million. I think you'll find this module on quite a few paladins and Chronoses and things like that. So this is a very good time if you know where to hunt for these. I actually don't. Is that low sec, null sec? I'm expecting that it is. If you can produce this, you're looking at a pretty nice return on investment. Potentially, it's all of them. It's absolutely all of them. 150 to 200 most of the year, currently selling for 370 million ISK. All right, this is the first one that has bottomed out. Maybe a big dump here of 20 units has caused this, but you can clearly see here as well, went up to 250. So we're quickly going to go over most of these. Not super pronounced. Those X types are very clearly, going for pretty much double the price. A-type at a high point, another B-type at a high point, C-type going down just a little bit, and then this X-type, same story, 400 to 700 million ISK. So that's definitely pretty interesting in the armor reps. Let's take a look at the shield boosters next. So for that I have to go to shields right here. And then we get our shield boosters. Let's go over this then a little bit more quickly, but my expectation is that we get this volume here as well. Definitely a frigate event that has driven demand up. And then the difference in story here so far is this first one, Gisty A-type small shield booster, starts at a very pronounced 1-year low point, well below 100 million ISK, so only gets pushed up to a more normal price, 117 for the sellers, 96 for the buyers. But that's an event-driven increase in price. B-type apparently less available and less being traded, right? 5 a day or something like that, going for around 100 million, around slightly above average, I would say. C-type, that's not a very good chart, so too low volumes. Here again, A-type shield booster, definitely a bit of a spike up, but nothing too noteworthy. Here's another B-type, a little bit below average even, and then a Pitum C-type that also basically recovered over the last month or so. So that's kind of different all of a sudden, right? Big rush on the armor reps, but not so much a rush, rather a recovery in the small shield boosters. Quite noticeable, of course. Let's take a quick look at the margin here. 123 for the sellers, 105 for the buyers. That's competitive, that's reasonable. And this is, of course, a chart that you want to see when you're bringing that exploration loot to the market, right? This feels all right. Trying to sell for, 120-ish on these charts. Definitely around average, a reasonable price, but don't sell to those buyers. Let's take a look at the medium shield boosters then, perhaps a little bit more abyss related or anything like that. These are, all right, A-types here, going for around 300 million ISK. Again, if that drops, kind of feels good. 307 for the sellers, 270 for the buyers. Feels more competitive than with the than with the armor reps. But here, look at that one. Complete breakout up to 180 million, 195 in fact for the sellers, 141 for the buyers. Now, can't really say why this is, but I can tell you one thing. If I happen to have a couple of Gistem B-type medium shield boosters, I would love to still have them available and bring them to the market right now, of course. And so these are the opportunities that I think I, as an explorer, have to be a bit more patient for. Gistem C-type, also a nice breakout, going for probably around 90 million at the moment. Yeah, just below that for the sellers, 75 for the buyers. This is the time to sell that one for sure. And then the A-type's only recovering, but still, 390 for the sellers, 355 for the buyers. It's definitely a good price for this one as well. And then here, all right, I didn't expect this, but you clearly have different stories here as well, depending on the source. So it looks like Gistem is all of a sudden very popular and there's not enough supply, so that price has shot up. And then the Pidem stuff was actually at pretty low prices, below average, and is just recovering a little bit, probably on all of that violence that we're seeing here in the Gistem market. That's kind of interesting, probably like region related, where you find this stuff, but that's also something to keep in mind, of course. And then I'm really interested, large shield boosters. Let's take a look at this A-type, because I mean I'm flying the Golem, so should go up as well, but we'll see. This one not at a high point, clearly trading above average though. Then here we got a B-type trading pretty average, a C-type trading pretty average, and we get an X-type trading above. All right, such a difference. We even have an A-type large shield booster that I would say is in don't sell territory. Yeah, below 200 million, 194, and still people are dumping like crazy. 175 for the buyers. This is one that you want to basically hold on to, maybe even invest in. If you have the opportunity, because it's potential 300 million 3 times at least, 350 even at the high point, and then the low points are right here below 200 million ISK, and that while you know, all these large armor reps were up so much. This was not what I was expecting. I thought we'd see a big boom here as well. That's just not happening. Most of these average to slightly below average. Even the X-type still going for 350 is quite reasonable. I would say, what a difference. All right, very different stories in the shield market than in the armor market. Next up, we got the propulsion market. We'll start with the afterburners. Let's take a quick look. Oof, that's actually a pretty big list, but all right, we'll try to go over this a little bit more quickly just to get the trends here. I would say here 100 MN trading above average, and then one below average. What the hell again? Core A-type 250 million, core B-type 75 million, and below, yeah, 74 for the sellers, 66 for the buyers. This is the same thing, right? If you bring this to the market, this is reasonable to sell. If you bring this to the market, hold on to it, wait for better times. That would be my message here. C-type pretty much on average, and then the X-type worth around 300 million ISK, yeah, 320, 301. That's definitely a reasonable range as well at the moment. Then the 1MNs, here's that event again, I would say, several days with really high volumes, and the price was driven up from a 1-year low point. We were below 20 million. We're now selling at 40 million. Is having a little bit of powder left, a little bit of reserve left from my exploration loot is probably actually not a bad idea, because this would be a great time to drop some 1MN afterburners that can drop from a lot of sites, actually, not necessarily the Corellis. I'm not really sure how to read those names just yet, but yeah, this is a great time to be selling those, probably thanks to an event. B-type, nice increase as well, went from below 20 million, currently still selling for 33 million ISK. And then the C-type is already recovering. That one is recovering a little bit more quickly, but still going for 27 million, quite reasonable. 10MNs, not expecting too much here. Average, 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 or below average. So it is a different story, I would say. Around average, feels around average on the chart, and this one clearly feels a little bit below average on the chart. So that's still quite different. And 100 MN, let's take a quick look. Well, we got those. That's at a high point then, not a high point. So the Gist ones doing a lot better. GIST X-type clearly trading above average. Some more 1MNs. And then in GISTs, apparently, yeah, just not available enough to really make any sense from this. And then, all right, a medium, a 10MNs that are actually doing the moonshot right now. 485 million for the first seller, 455 for the buyers. And just about a month ago, we were selling and buying these for less than 300 million ISK. Availability is gone. Wouldn't you love to have one or two of those in your cargo hold in JITA right now? I know I do. Then this B-type also going up. All right, 140 million, was below 100 million not that long ago. Nice profit here. And then the C-types, definitely a little bit more muted on the least popular one and the most available one. So nice volatility, definitely pretty interesting. And then finally, we also have the micro updrives, really valuable drops as well. Especially, I would say some of the cruiser ones I think are really valuable. But we will take a quick look. Here is 500 MN. All right, that's a nice step up. That feels a little bit more like the armor rep type of story, right? Currently trading, I mean, starting the year at less than 200 million, then 300, 250 on average for most of the year, and now all of a sudden back in a 350 to 400 million range for this A-type. This one also trading at 200 million, started the year at 100. That's pretty nice 1 year chart. Again for battles, I think it's battleship class. I'm gonna assume it is. Yeah, battleship class module. So micro updrives apparently way more popular than the afterburners. 600 million for a core X-type, 500 MN, 650 to 670 in fact for the sellers. Then we get our small 5MNs. All right, does have a spike up to 55 million from 35 million, but plugged very quickly. Here's the B-type, same thing, went up to 60 million ISK, even a data point at 70 million. So someone actually bought one for 70 million, being desperate enough to need that one. And then currently recovering, still trading for 48 million. That's still a very good price, of course. Don't get me wrong, but apparently far more volatile. Far more quick to recover from that spike than the afterburners and the armor reps so far. A-type 50 MN, so this is cruiser modules. These are actually going way low, all of them almost at a 1 year low point, 106. Super narrow margin as well. So something that, you know, if I look at this chart, I would try to hold on to rather than sell right away. Potentially everything could trade for like 50 million ISK more than this. Not a battleship story, so again, double the price over the last year. Clearly something happened in the last couple of months in this market, so that's going to be some marauder stuff. And I'm expecting, the X-type actually super pronounced 1 year low point, starts here below 200 million and is currently selling for 458 million ISK. And then our poor GISTy A-types for frigates, really not very popular. All of these hardly moving or even available despite everything else we've seen in the frigate category. And then we get our 50 MN GISTM A-types here for cruisers. That's volatility. I mean, this is 230, 250, 280, and then bottoms 150, less than 180, 150 again. And right now we are selling these for 280 million ISK. Yeah, of course, here early March, kind of a bad time to be selling in a lot of these goods. So here, have the patience, wait a little bit, and look at that. 1 month later, you're probably selling for almost double what you could have sold for just by waiting for 1 month. That's an important lesson that we're seeing here. Here's the B-type, so I would not be selling this one, and then the C-type definitely pretty low as well. But looking at the potential, more than 100 million should be possible. We're trading and dumping at 80 and 73 million ISK here at the moment. So definitely not like a uniform story in this deadspace faction module segment of the market. A little bit of pressure here and there, but it's definitely a story of meta, of stuff that's happening in the game, of stuff that CCP organizes that seems to be dictating price you know, for the real opportunities, for the 1-year high points, the super big price spikes. And then we've got a nice wavy pattern in almost all of these, I would say, that mean that for us explorers that produce this type of stuff, some patience and trying to time the market a little bit can make a very big difference in how much you're getting for your exploration loot. And so this is something that I'm going to definitely look into the last couple of months. And in fact, most of my time playing EVE Online, what I've done is just, you know, bi-weekly or so, bring it to the market, sell it, sometimes even dump it to the buyers, which, you know, looking at this segment here is a very big mistake. I am going to start to organize that a little bit more, make sure that I've got like some small stuff, medium stuff, everything ready to go, and then also keep an eye on the announcements from the proving grounds and just on the market in general, so that I can sell at better prices. But it's not a dead market by any means. I would just say if you're looking to speculate in this type of stuff, be very careful, but because we also noticed that it is small volumes. So you know, I'd rather produce this stuff than speculate on it, personally speaking. But it's absolutely possible. You can get some crazy returns on all of this as well. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for sticking with me, and as always, I will see you next time.